Hi, Peter. I can't hear you. Let
Hi,
me.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, are you in Abuja?
Yes, I am in Abuja.
When are you coming to Nairobi?
Mm, mm. I mean, I don't want to give you a wrong response, but yeah, hopefully end of this year.
Okay.
Hopefully. But is Kenya now calm? I know that there was a lot going on in Kenya. We
Oh, we
do.
have we are calm. We're okay.
Okay.
We are working towards we we are tired of the government. We need to go
Mm,
home.
I know, right?
So
I
we are
mean,
working.
yeah, just to confirm, did they finally approve what you people were looking for?
It's still a push and pull,
Mm.
but I mean, um, he's trying a few things, but he's not going to get away with it. So the budget, the budget was not passed.
Oh, okay.
And that was the biggest thing.
Mm.
Then he dissolved the cabinet,
Mm-hmm.
but yesterday he announced a new cabinet lineup, but it includes people we don't want. So
Again. It's like you guys are going to start it again, like another
no,
round.
it has not stopped.
Mm.
Yeah, we are demonstrating every Tuesday and Thursday, and
Mm-hmm.
we are also providing a lot of. There's also a lot of pressure that is
Mm.
being provided through uh, the media, through social spaces, and
Mm.
a lot of
Mm.
demands. I actually don't. They're going to make the changes, whether they like it or not.
Yeah, so Peter, we have a situation. I know we reached out to you a couple of times. We needed your photo. We never got it. I
I
don't know.
told you I don't do photos.
Oh, okay.
Even having my even having me on the video is just because I'm speaking today.
Was there a reason why though?
Uh,
Is there a reason why you don't do that?
I think I am just shy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how I'm wondering then how will you now speak to our participants if you're shy?
I drank a lot of coffee.
Oh, okay, that's the trick.
Yeah.
That's a good trick. That's a good trick.
Hmm.
Okay.
Are you going to go to Paris?
So no,
Hmm.
um, I mean my team definitely will be going, but I have like a conflicting schedule with that particular day. So
Yeah.
someone else will be representing me. Of course, Timothy will be there as well. Nanko will be there and someone else. But yeah, I'm yet to send like an official email to
Hmm.
inform the rest of the team. The conflicting thing just came up. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What about, are you going to give us a panel at Afrila at the convention in Cape Town?
Yes, yes. You said we'll give you what?
Give one planet a panel.
Yes, so we are working towards, I think I updated Serena on that. So we are working towards, I mean, having a session for One Planet, or even if it means speaking engagement, right?
Yeah.
Uh, being part of a session where One Planet can have an opportunity to just discuss
Hmm.
uh, what
When are
has
the
been
dates again?
9th, 8th to the 10th of November. So it's early November.
Okay. We may be having like a regional energy symposium and
Mm,
set of workshops at the end of November, early December,
mm, mm, mm,
which is being organized by World Energy Council.
mm,
So
cool.
I am trying to see if we can make uh, one of the panels about Wife Nexus and One Planet.
Oh, okay, great. So Peter, is your slide ready? So we can just quickly present it and then.
You can prepare slides.
Peter, you don't have slide?
Yeah, I'm only doing 3 minutes or so.
But slides are important. I mean, I mean, introduction to the water, energy, food nexus.
I'm only doing 3 minutes.
So can we, so what do we then present?
I'll just talk.
Okay, I mean, this is really, really tricky. This is really, really tricky.
You know, lawyers rarely use slides.
Okay, so what I would try and do
Mm.
is this. Um,
That's better.
so you just, okay, I'll do the introduction.
And you're
And
moderating.
yes, I'm moderating. Okay. And then, oh, I need to do something. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So I'll just hand when I do the okay, Serena is in. So Timothy, let's ensure the speakers are in.
Hi, Serena.
Before we start letting the team in.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, Serena. Hi, Serena. Please confirm your slide is ready.
So actually, I haven't prepared any slides because I have just have 5 minutes the closing of the event. So I was just thinking of doing a recap without slides. If you prefer slides, I can make two now.
Okay, yeah, like even if it's two slides, like
Okay.
just yeah.
Yeah,
So
because I see from the title of the presentation is just wrapping up and then presenting next steps. So okay, I can make two slides.
yeah, so
Okay,
I've
I'll
been
do that.
informed. Okay, thank you. I've been informed by Peter that he didn't make any slide, but what we will do is just present this. So when I start the moderation, I just hand over to him. He then starts discussing before we move on to the next speaker.
Mhm. Okay, so I have like 1 hour, so I will make now my two slides.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. And then will I share my screen with the slides or do I have to send it to you and you will share it?
I think when it's time to present, I'll give you access to share your screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Hi, Timothy. Okay, I can see Fabio is here. So we're waiting for Abdul, Jennifer, and Titi. Hi, Fabio. So just to mention, Serena, we have over 270 sign up, people that are interested in joining. So you know how these things can be. We may probably end up with, let's say, half of that or even quarter of that,
Yes.
which is good.
Okay, perfect.
Hi, Fabio. Can you hear me? I think he's still connecting. Hi, Fabio. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I couldn't get the camera working, but it's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Just to confirm, you have your slides ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So I will keep what I'll do once it's time for each speaker, I'll give them access to share their screen and then they move the conversation while managing the movement of their slides. So it's great that you have your slide. Jennifer,
Hi, good morning.
how are you?
I'm all right, yourself? Good?
Yeah, I'm okay. Just to confirm, you have your slide.
Yes, I got my slides. I have tested them.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we have, okay, Abdul is here. So we are waiting for Titi before we start letting people in.
Okay. No worries.
Good day, everyone.
Hi,
Hello.
Abdullah.
Hi, Abdullahi. How are you? Abdullahi, can you hear me? Hello. Okay. Great. Hi, everyone. I think we have everyone here. Titi just joined. So we'll start letting them in as we prepare the conversation. So yeah, thank you. Timothy, please proceed to let the participants in. Okay. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, even good evening from wherever you're joining from. And welcome to today's session on innovative approach to sustainable water energy nexus management in Africa. So in this session, we'll be focusing on the insight, right, from ONEPlanET case study. My name is Lydia Ezenwa. I work with AfriLabs as a senior programs officer, and it is my pleasure to moderate this session. So at AfriLabs, we are dedicated to supporting innovation across Africa, and we believe that the Water Energy Food Nexus ONEPlanET project is a significant step towards sustainable resource management. And just to mention that we have an exciting lineup of speakers who will share their insight and experience with us today. So without wasting much time, I would say that we should just quickly kickstart on the conversation or even the session, right? To kick things off, I would like to introduce Peter. Peter is a senior research advisor on law and policy at UNESCO, chair for climate resilience and sustainability at Strathmore University. So today he will provide an overview and importance of interdisciplinary solution in addressing energy, climate, and societal challenge. So Peter, if you're ready, you have the mic.
Thank you, Lydia, and good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone, depending on where you're coming from. It's a pleasure to have you join us here today. So our project, the ONEPlanET project, this webinar today, we're going to discuss the key role that under the water energy food nexus in sustainable development. And the discussions today are going to be based on insights that are gained from the case studies we have in work package 1 and how they operate in the rest of the project under the different work packages. So it's an honor to have you all here as our audience today, and it's my hope that you'll be able to provide different diverse perspectives that can be useful for us for deeper exploration on this subject, water, energy, food nexus, and sustainable development as the project continues to progress. Crucially, we are just past the halfway mark of the project, so this is a good time to start presenting our ideas and our findings so that we get feedback that are useful as we begin to develop some of the toolkits for the project. So just an overview, the WEF Nexus, Water Energy Food Nexus framework is very fundamental to our approach under the project in how natural resources are managed. And we highlight the interconnections between water, energy, and food systems. The reasoning behind these are systems that are crucial for environmental sustainability, socio-economic well-being, as well as meeting the crucial energy needs of our society, particularly in Africa, where the project is focused on. And the project has 12 partners, so from Europe and from Africa, 8 from Europe, 4 from Africa. And this includes universities and research institutions, private companies, non-profit organizations, and we come together to look at these critical issues, share knowledge, collect data, and look at how we can be able to develop the ONEPlanET toolkit. Of course, this is addressed in context of the challenges, the critical global challenges such as climate change, resource scarcities, increasing population pressures, and energy transitions, as well as the need to have an integrated and holistic management of not just the resources, but also solutions. So the webinar is, like I said earlier, is going to look at the insights that have been gained from the case studies. We've had 3 case studies for the Songwe River Basin at the border of Malawi and Tanzania, the Nkomati-Usuthu Basin in South Africa, and the Bani River Basin in Niger. The case study is actually crucial to our work in ONEPlanET because they give us a very useful data, detailed information, and real-world examples of how the WEF Nexus approach operates in different ecological and socioeconomic settings. But beyond the social and ecological settings, it also gives us insights about the different policy environments. For example, the transboundary policy environment between Malawi and Tanzania in Songwe, and the different jurisdictions, South Africa, Tanzania, Malawi, and Niger, and how this, we look at the information of how these are managed. The Songwe Basin, for example, and examine the interplay between water management, agricultural productivity, and energy production in a transboundary context, Malawi, Tanzania, whereas both Inkomati and Bani, Inkomati, Lesotho, and Bani were national, but they explored critical issues of water security and energy access. So these case studies provide a very comprehensive view to the challenges and opportunities in the respective regions. And we look at how this can provide the context for a broader examination of the same issues across the continent. And this leads into the broader project goals. So the case studies are not isolated examinations or assessments. They're actually integral to the ONEPlanet's broader objectives. So the data and insights that are gained from the case studies will contribute to developing the open access modeling tools that are being designed to help stakeholders to simulate different resource management scenarios. This is going to be a practical tool that can support decision-making processes through providing evidence-based assessments of various policy options, ensuring that these are robust and contextually relevant. They'll also, we also hope that the findings can be used to inform policy recommendations and crucially, educational materials provide a knowledge base that can help to make this more useful and more practical in the different regions. So with those few opening remarks, it's great to have you here. I know that you're drawn from very diverse settings, policymakers, researchers, industry professionals, civil society organizations, community leaders, and academics. So all the insights that you provide will be very valuable for us as we move towards the next stages of this project. And I encourage you to be very free with your insights, use a chat box and during the Q&A as well. Thank you, and back to you, Lydia.
Thank you very much, Peter, for that insightful overview. So next, we will move to challenges in implementing the water, energy, food nexus. And this will be presented by Dr. Titi. Dr. Titi is a researcher at the Center for Transformative Agriculture and Food Center at the University of KwaZulu-Natal. Her multidisciplinary research background span across food system, climate change. So today she will explore, I would say, the environmental, socio-economical, and of course, institutional challenge encountered in implementing the water, energy, food nexus, ONEPlanet's approach in our case study region. So Dr. Titi, if you are ready, I'm going to give you access to share your slides, and over to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Lydia. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Lydia, can you stop sharing so that I can share my presentation? Yeah.
Sorry, I can't do that.
Just 1 second, I'm going to share my presentation now. Okay. Once again, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Very much all for coming and joining us through this webinar. I'm going to present. Let me just screen. 1 second. I'm going to present on the Wave Nexus ONEPlanET approach at a basin scale. I'm going to present these slides together with Dr. Abdoulaye Ballo from ICRI. So I'm going to give a brief introduction. Why are we applying ONEPlanET at a case study level? So we are planning the ONEPlanET at a case study level to ensure sustainable development, which is a major challenge to solve complex interrelated problems directly related to society's use and access to water, energy, and food. Wave resources have deep security issues as they are fundamental to the functioning of society, and hence require explicit identification and treatment of their related risks. So if we don't apply ONEPlanET at a case study, we are going to miss the society. We are going to miss how the society manage or how do they benefit from the resources and how we can also be able to give recommendations in the management of the resources that they know. So the Wave Nexus approach requires expert knowledge, modeling experiences. And for us to have these expert knowledge, modeling experiences, we have to involve the society. And for us to involve the society, we have to apply the tool at a local scale and involve the stakeholders. These stakeholders are the ones that have experiences on how the interlinkages between the different variables can be expressed. So this presentation is going to share case study findings during the workshops and interviews, as well as secondary data collection methods that we did in the previous 2 years when the project has started. Sorry, I cannot move my slide. Okay, why case studies? The representativeness of the case studies ensures broad replicability of the project solutions. It provides an interesting opportunity to progress in developing a just energy transition in Africa that provides energy access to local communities and conserves resources and the environment. In other words, case studies help us in the understanding of complex issues in their real-life settings. Furthermore, they are critical when you want to gain concrete, contextual, in-depth knowledge about a specific real-world subject. So our subject in ONEPlanET is to find is to develop a Wave Nexus tool that can help manage, that can be built on the social complexity of resources. So ONEPlanET undertakes a participatory approach to build local communities in 3 relevant African case studies. These case studies are unique, and we are going to develop a ONEPlanET tool at a river basin scale. ONEPlanET case studies include the Songwe River Basin, which is a transboundary river basin between Malawi and Tanzania. We are also going to apply the ONEPlanET on Inkomati Usutu area, which is found in South Africa, and the Niger River Basin in Nigeria. Why are we also going to do the ONEPlanET 2 at a river basin scale? ONEPlanET 2 is going to be developed and tested at a river basin scale to offer more specific policies, strategies, and solutions relevant to that specific area. River basin scale will support the identification of the different vulnerability problems of some locals and thus offer practical solutions that consider African stakeholders, social in the social aspect when we are developing the One Planet 2. That's why we are developing it at a local scale, which is the river basin. And also at a river basin scale, it's easy to collect the data and also to share the results and the findings. So the first case study is the Songwe River Basin. I'm going to share with you more about this river basin. Where is this river basin? This river basin is between Malawi and Tanzania, and it covers about 4,243 square kilometers. It has got some fertile alluvial soils and abundant water resources. There is the Songwe River and also the Lake Malawi inside the basin. The total population in the area is about 341,000 people. And most of these people, they are poor. They live on average per capita income lower than 386 USD per year. And most of whom depend on agriculture for their livelihood. The rapid population growth rate of about 2.8% over recent years puts pressure on the local environment, resulting in severe degradation of natural resources. Approximately 52,000 people live in the floodplain and suffer from flooding and land loss. Also, 30 to 50% lack access to a safe water supply. The Songwe River Basin experiences electricity shortages. Approximately 75% do not have access to electricity. In the basin, the rapid population growth has contributed to the degradation of the environment. The Songwe River Basin Commission has been formed by two countries, that is Tanzania and Malawi, aimed to reduce poverty, improve human health and livelihoods, and also to ensure water, food, and energy security, mitigate floods, and enhance sustainable river basin management. So the Songwe River Basin Commission is aiming to construct a multi-purpose reservoir. That is, the reservoir is intended to supply water for about 180,000 megawatts hydropower plant, and which is going to save about 86,000 dwellers, and also about 3,000 hectares of land is going to be irrigated using the water from this reservoir. And also the reservoir is going to help in the control of floods, which is one of the major problems in the area. So the ONEPlanET to assess the Songwe River Basin's the Songwe River Basin Commission's expected outcomes by applying an approach that starts drafting the conceptual framework of the Songwe River Basin Nexus system and progresses in developing quantitative tools based on systems dynamic models and suitable indicators for assessing different feasible, sustainable development scenarios. So during the workshops and the interviews, we have seen that there are some challenges that are going to be experienced when we implement the energy transition. So for example, the Songwe River Basin case studies, we have found that TANESCO is the country's principal electricity generator, transmitter, and distributor. The Ministry of Energy and Minerals regulates the operations of the TANESCO. We also have the Rural Energy Agency, which is responsible for promoting, encouraging, facilitating, and improving modern energy access in rural areas to support economic and social development. And we also have the Ministry of Agriculture, which is responsible for managing agriculture. And there's also relevant ministries for managing water resources. So we have seen that for us to implement the WEF Nexus, there is fragmentation of their different authorities, or there is a silos. The authorities are managing resources in silos. There's only an authority managing water and an authority managing agriculture. There is no one authority that is managing all the resources in one. And also policy is also a barrier in the energy transition. Though their policies are there, and most of these it's at a national level and they are not at a local level. Tanzania's government allows private participation in generating and distributing electricity. However, the solar energy investments in Tanzania are still practiced on a small scale. Very few households use solar energy. And also the government supports solar development within the country by removing VAT and import taxes on solar components such as panels, batteries, inverters, and regulators. And there is also another challenge that is being experienced in Tanzania and Malawi, or to be specific, in the Songwe River Basin. The governments are being compelled by droughts, the rising energy demand due to the increase in population, and the rising greenhouse gas emissions to create strategies that encourage the use of renewable energy sources. About 45% of the nation's electricity is generated by hydropower. However, the recent dry weather caused water shortages that had an impact on the electricity generating turbines. So this is going to affect also the implementation of the energy transition. Availability strategy. For us to improve this, the needs for the information availability, like from the top level to the local level. There is also the infrastructure and access strategy. Several infrastructure development projects are important to the energy transition process in the Songwe River Basin. There's need to upgrade the road access that links the Songwe River Basin with major cities and roads on both Malawi and Tanzania. To facilitate the proposed hydro site and information offices on both sides of the countries. There is no generation of energy from wind and geothermal in the Songwe River Basin. This could be also because maybe of the geographical location of the area and also the absence of finance and technical resources. So now I'm going to give the floor to my colleague, Abdullah, to represent or to present about case study number 2, the Bani River Basin. Over to you, Abdullah.
Okay, thank you, TC. Okay, so you can go to the next slide. So I'm going to talk about the Niger River Basin. So I have to correct a little bit what the case study concerned not in Nigeria is a Niger River Basin located in Mali, where called Bani River Basin. So the basin cover around 130,000 square kilometer, and the major part is located in the southern Mali, which we have 85%, and the remaining 50% is located in northern Cote d'Ivoire. So the population account for that area almost 1/3 of Mali populations. So we have around 4 million of people living on that area. So the economy of the basin is relying on the agriculture, especially rain-fed agriculture. And the agriculture largely in the basin account for 20 to 35% on the country GDP. And also we have the livestock, which also account for around 15%, and fishing also. For that, so we found 2 major dams on the Bani River Basin, which we call Talo and Jene dams. So those dams was constructed for irrigations of the footprints so to cultivate rice and other things. Also, we have around 5,000 hectares for growing animal food. So the agriculture, the total irrigation potential estimated on the Bani River Basin is around 2 millions of hectares. Next slide, please. Okay, so in the Bani River Basin, you have a lack of access to the water, the safe water, which is around 30%, and also more than 50% of the population on that area don't have access, doesn't have access to the electricity, you see, and due to the rapid population growth, this contributed to the degradation of the environment. Then for that, we have the authority of Niger River Basin Authority, which aims to harmonize and coordinate national water. So to seek for the facilitate of water and energy infrastructure development in the area. Okay, next slide, please. So for water implementation in Bani, so first, the Bani, as I said, is a significant sub-basin which is play a significant role in development, in socio-economic development of the regions. So therefore, implementing the Nexus approach will enhance basin resource sustainability and resilience. So for the implementations of water and Nexus, we found some of the results. Before the result, so I can explain a little bit the methodology we use for access for those results. The research was comprised of combined the approach, the two approach, the qualitative and quantitative approach we use for to analyze the dynamic of water energy food nexus around the basin. So the qualitative analysis is utilized to explore the perspective which concern the different stakeholders, institutions, and government around the basin. And also with some primary data that we collected through the workshop, interview, and the key stakeholder in the sectors. And also we use some secondary data, which we obtained through the extensive literature review. So after collecting the policy document, and so at a national, regional, and local level, to see how the implementation of the Nexus will be good for the country. So after analyzing the result, it showed a higher policy performance and a partial coherence across the national water policy across the country. So the policy coherence across the national policy, you see, is however strongest in a few set of policy instruments, because we use some instruments for analyzing of all those policy coherence, and for that, for the policy instruments, this include the conservation, the restoration, and the sustainable use of water resource in a basin area. We also look at the water pollution control. If on the policy we have the coherence with the objective of those policy instruments. And also we look at the groundwater, the enforcement of water resource, the law, and the guideline, and the standard inclusive stakeholder participations on the policy. We also look at an instrument of a policy, and also the equitable benefits sharing mechanism. So for that to have a good result, we use a multiple decision analysis of the policy instrument to analyze the potential conflict and the synergy among the sectors. So generally, regional water perform poorly in terms of alignment of approach with many of the best performing policy instruments. Next slide, please. So also we have a higher performance is observed in the national policy in terms of alignment with policy instruments also. But for the national policy, you look at the economy incentive, data and research technology, and information dissemination, national budget for financing energy infrastructure, including stakeholder participation and the energy access. So for that, some of the policy we use for this analysis was we look at the national energy policy. In case of energy sector, we have a national energy efficiency action plan, the national energy strategies, and also some regional policy. We selected like the ECOWAS energy efficiency policy, the WAP, the West African power pools, what we call WAPs, was we use for the policy analysis. This is for the energy. For the water, use the national water policies and national water sanitations, water resource regulation, also we use for those analysis. But here, the horizontal policy coherence they show less consistent across the national agriculture in terms of alignment with the policy instruments. So the policy instruments also include for agriculture, you have a climate smart, you have agriculture, agroecology, improved seed, organic fertilizer, so, etc. For a challenging, so as we have the challenging at the end of the debate, I can highlight some of the challenges we get during the policy data collection for the Nexus implementation. So we noticed the absence of coordination approach and collaboration between the different sectors, water, energy, and the food in the Bani River, especially in the country, in the whole country, Mali. Also, the lack of water policy at the local, because most of the policy used on those areas are national. So the specific policy for Bani at national is also something which is a big challenge for the country for the implementation of water energy resource. Also, the insufficient financing fund resource also was not enough to achieve some of the challenges. Okay, thank you. This is, you can go for the statutory.
Thank you very much, Abdoulaye. So we move on to case study number 3, which is Inkomati Usutu Water Management Area in South Africa. The Inkomati Usutu Water Management Area covers about 36,256 square kilometers. And it occupies a portion of the Usutu, Pongola, Maputo, and Komati, Pongola transboundary water systems, which are jointly shared by South Africa, Eswatini, and Mozambique. The energy demand is about 24,000 gigawatts per hour per annum, gigawatts hour per annum, and is generated from power stations, which where we have Inkomati Usutu Water Management Area is the one that has got most of the coal mines, and is the one that has also major number of power stations, the thermal power stations for South Africa. So the most used energy vectors in the Inkomati Usutu are electricity, solar, generators or batteries, gas, paraffin, wood, and coal. Nkomati is made up of 4 water-stressed subcatchments. The area is vulnerable to climate-induced shocks such as droughts. For example, the El Nino in 2015 and 2016, it has affected the area. The primary sources of water are groundwater, which contributes to about 1%, and also transfers from other water management areas, about 1.5%, the 10 floors, which contributes about 9.5%, and the surface water, which contributes about 88%. The availability of surface water within the entire area is less than the demand. And therefore, water is a scarce resource in the Nkomati area. When we want to check on the water use, we have seen that irrigation uses about 31% of the water which is available. The ecological reserves, they use 23%, afforestation 21%. So irrigation, ecological reserves, and the afforestation are the major water uses in the Nkomati. And the food, about 509 or about 510,000 hectares are available for agriculture. The Malanga province, which is where we have the Nkomati water management area, produces about 29.1% of the country's soybeans, and 32% of sorghum is produced in Mpumalanga, and 23.8% of all the maize that is produced in South Africa comes from Mpumalanga province. So the other major crops that are also produced in the Nkomati area are cotton, potatoes, and onions. The low-veld region of the area is also well known for its sugarcane, macadamia nuts, citrus, and subtropical fruits such as bananas, avocados, and mangoes. So we can see that this province is well known for agriculture, even if the water is stressed for water resource for irrigation. And also the major energy that is being used, most of the energy that is being used in South Africa is produced in this province. So these are the strengths and challenges that we have seen for the implementation of the wealth nexus in the Nkomati area. There is a lot of fragmentation of authority. We have seen that the Department of Mining, Resources and Energy manages South Africa's energy resources through the state-owned utilities of Eskom, which is responsible for the production, grid transmission, and retail. There's also the SASO, which specializes in the coal to liquids and chemicals. Eskom's rates and fees are set by another authority, which is the National Energy Regulator of South Africa. Even if Eskom is responsible for the production, grid, transmission, and retail, it's not responsible also for setting up the rates or the fees or for controlling the prices for electricity. We also have the Department of Trade, Industry, and Competition, which regulates the energy industry from localization and industrial growth standpoints. This is also another government ministry that shapes the framework of decisions about energy and coal. When it comes to climate change policies, environmental issues, and the preservation of natural resources, there's also another authority, which is the Department of Forestry, Fisheries, and the Environment. So there's management of resources in the Nkomati water management area. Almost 90% of South Africa's electricity comes from the coal plants scattered around the country. And Eskom is committed to implementing the 2030 National Development Plan strategy for them to meet the sustainable development goals of reducing emissions from coal-fired power stations and investing in cleaner energy or renewable energy programs. One of the policy documents that supplied the groundwork for developing the renewable energy technologies, including solar, hydro, biomass, and wind in South Africa, is the White Paper on Renewable Energy of 2003. So we have seen that since the province also depends or has got the major coal mines, when the province is planning to close all those mines where most of the people work, so this is also going to affect the WEF implementation in that province. And the Integrated Resource Plan of 2010, Renewable Energy Independent Power Producer Procurement Program of 2010, and also the JET IP are some of the policies that are being implemented in South Africa to support WEF implementation. And these policies, they've got targets which are only set over a short period of time. Some of them are for over 4 years and 5 years. And when they see that they did not meet the targets, they develop another policy or another plan. The definition of feasible infrastructure investments, optimizing WEF, is still in its infancy in the Inkomati area. Eskom will close 10 coal power stations between 2040 and 2050. Energy renewal plants produce much less energy than the coal-fired power plants. So this is going to be a challenge. There's a need for large pieces of land to build the plants that meet the energy demand. There's also a need for extensive deforestation and vegetation clearance to create land for solar and wind farming. We all know that land, it's a finite resource. So for us to create land for the development of the solar panels or the wind farms, we need to give land, or you need to get land from other sectors. So this is where we are bringing in the WEF Nexus. So if we have to, maybe we have to take land from agriculture sectors, we have also to see which other sectors are going to be affected and by how much. There's also need for high investment in maintenance costs of solar panels, and we have fewer highly qualified PV specialists. So this is also another challenge for the implementation of the just energy transition in the Inkomati Usuthu area. Water pollution by mining. So we all know that when the water is polluted, it will not be suitable for its use. So this is also another major challenge for the water resources in Inkomati. Even if it's a scarce resource, there's also pollution, which is a major problem in the area. And also the hydropower generation in the area, it's going to be a major challenge since there is water shortage in the area. And we have seen that irrigation is the major water use in the area. So, and also the province or the area receives minimum amount of rainfall. So for it to be enough for hydropower, we have to find other sources of water. To consider the water requirements of Swaziland and Mozambique and the existing international agreements, this is also another challenge because the Inkomati Usuthu, yes, it's in between the other countries. There's Swaziland and there's also Mozambique. So for them to ration the water or to develop major projects that involves or requires water, they have to also include Mozambique and Swaziland. So I'm going to give the floor back to Abdoulaye to give the conclusions and also the lessons that we have learned during the workshops and the case study and the interviews that were done in the case studies. Thank you. Over to you, Abdoulaye.
Okay, thank you, TC. So regarding the conclusion, so the absence of a coordinated approach, collaboration and cooperation between the different sectors, we found that there is a gap, a serious gap for the connection of those sectors. And also the lack of water, energy, food policy at a local scale. So the complexity of integrating the nexus. We are also found the insufficient financial resource to implement the water energy food policy effectively. Failure to consider the local population concern regarding capacity building and sharing benefits generated by organizational achievement. Institutional complexity and a lack of incentive. Inadequate infrastructure, the difficulty of accessing and adopting advanced technology. You see, also we found the inadequate data and information, which was a very big issue concerning the data. So on the food energy nexus. The next slide. So the lesson learned and recommendation is addressing this challenge necessitates a delicate balance between the national and the local interests. Because as I said, most of the policy are just national. So it is difficult to find and document explicitly for local cases, local people. So it is important to have this connection between the national and local interests. Therefore, the stakeholder in a case study highlight the following points. So to overcome this challenge is to have a specific policy framework at a local river basin. So, and also the government should encourage the development of efficient technology and practice through their policy activities in the energy and water sector, and to improve the wealth and also socioeconomic data availability. So to help identify the welfare applications, and also to, for the innovation opportunity, which will help and encourage innovation. And the government must also consider policy coherence. So by ensuring synergy and trade-off between water and energy, but you can include also for the food in developing the implementing policy and investment by encouraging coordination for multiple beneficial nexus approach. Develop regular body specifically designed to manage water energy food nexus with a power to enforce an integrated policy. So next slide. Thank you for your attending, and we wait for questions. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Abdoulaye.
Yeah.
Back
Thank
to
you.
you, Lydia.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Titi and Dr. Abdullahi, for, just shedding light, right, on the challenges in implementing the WAF Nexus ONEPlanET approach. I think I must say that your detailed exploration of the barriers to effective resource management underscores the importance of collaboration and, of course, innovation. It's clear, right, that tailored approach are essential for just addressing unique challenges and opportunities. So yeah, thank you for this valuable insight, and we actually look forward to just overcoming these challenges together. So now we'll leave the floor open for questions. Please feel free to raise your hand or even type your question in the chat box, and the speaker will address it accordingly. So yes, please, if you have any question, raise your hand or drop in the chat box. Okay. So yeah, while we wait for the participants to drop their question, we'll quickly move on. We'll move on to the next session, which is on innovative participatory approach in ONEPlanET, right? Which will be facilitated by Jennifer, Dr. Jennifer. Dr. Jennifer is a user research lead at 3 o'clock, a Paris-based research and innovation agency. So today she would discuss the innovative participatory approach used used in the project. So Jennifer, if you're ready, you have the floor.
Sure. Thank you so much for the introduction, Lydia. I will share my presentation. Hope this is all visible to you. If not, let me know. I think it's fine. So I will be talking about why participatory approaches are useful for developing decision-making models, as we do in ONEPlanET. What approaches we have used already in ONEPlanET across the 3 case studies that Tsitsi and Abdullah have just presented to us. And also I will talk about what the outcomes were of our participation approaches that we have already used, and how we will be implementing the outcomes and results that we had from them. So why participatory approaches in the first place? As was already mentioned also by Peter in the introduction, ONEPlanET aims to enhance the usability, relevance, and acceptance of the Web Nexus decision support models and tools in Africa. So in this case, we kind of face one of the main challenges, which is getting end users and decision makers to actually use these models and tools that we are developing. And this can be especially difficult when it comes to government agencies and public authorities. But having participation of stakeholders already implemented in the methodology, for example, co-design techniques and interdisciplinary knowledge exchanges, can help to enhance the adoption rate of these tools, because we actually focus on the real problems that end users are facing instead of pushing predefined solutions onto them. So we really want to understand what are the local contexts, what do different stakeholder groups need, and how can we implement this, and how can we actually practically incorporate this into the tools and models that we are developing in this project. So for this, I would shortly present you the participatory framework that we are working with. So first of all, we are doing a needs assessment, where we focus on understanding end users' behaviors, their needs, their motivations, but also their preferences. The next phase is a strategy and plan level approach, where multiple stakeholders collaborate in the design process, so that we ensure that the solutions meet their needs. And then the last phase is an implementation and iteration level approach. So at this time, we already have kind of predefined the tools and the models, but we want to understand more through user feedback how we can refine what we have developed, and also see how it is implemented in real world use. So as I said, participation of stakeholders is really important. And in ONEPlanET, we have 4 stakeholder groups, which are academia, research institutions. The other group are policy and decision makers. The third group will be industry professionals and investors. And the fourth will be civil society groups. So NGOs, but also, let's say, farmers associations, fishers associations, but also people who are just happening to live in the 3 case studies that were already presented. So I'm sure in our audience, we have a wide variety of representatives from these 4 stakeholder groups present today. And I just want to shortly address that when it comes to public participation, there are different levels in which the public can be engaged. So this can be ranging from a very minimal public influence. So for example, just informing stakeholders about what is happening in the project, but it can also lead to full public control over decision-making, where stakeholders are really empowered to also take decisions on what kind of things are implemented within the project. So participation is also a question of balancing these different levels of engagement and understanding the intended participation level of each stakeholder group also beforehand, because it's important that from early on you understand what you want from your stakeholders as well, and how you want to have them be incorporated in the participation process. So these are the theoretical methodological backgrounds that we have been using, and now I will be jumping into participation in practice. So what have we been doing in ONEPlanET? So as I said, we have these 3 phases, and we have been doing a needs assessment. In this phase, we investigated local challenges regarding water, food, and energy to understand which skills amongst the stakeholders are most needed. And for this, we have been doing a context analysis, but also stakeholder mapping in each case study. And we have also been doing interviews, so face-to-face semi-structured interviews. And during these interviews, we left participants with enough space to express their knowledge, their ideas and opinions. And we really tried to avoid introducing too much bias within the questions. So we have been conducting in total 23 of these interviews in the Bani River Basin, the Sangwe River Basin, in Nkomati and Sotho, but also we had another session in Nairobi to also ensure that the tools that we're developing will also have application beyond the case studies that we're working with. The next part of the needs assessments was also doing an online user needs survey, which was launched between January of this year and mid-March. And we have been doing this through the ONEPlanET stakeholder network. And we have also been distributing the survey at local workshops in the case study. And we had in total a response rate of 223 responses from 29 different African countries. And I will be speaking about the workshops we have done in a second, but we also use the workshops as sort of focus groups to have more in-depth understandings and conversations with the people who attended these workshops, with the stakeholders who attended these workshops, to also better understand the common challenges that they might have across the stakeholder groups, and also to understand which needs are the most pressing for them. So I will show you a slide with some pictures of the co-design workshops that we have done. So as I said, we have done one in Nairobi, one in the Sangwe River Basin, one in the Bani River Basin, and one in the Nkomati Sotho catchment area, with local stakeholders to prioritize and understand which features of the tools and the models are the most important to them. So we really aim to validate our understanding of what we think is important with the reality that they might face. So as you see, we had two exercises. The first co-design exercises was the validation and prioritization. So we gave stakeholders a list of predefined features. And through the workshop, we worked with their stakeholders to understand which of these features are the most relevant to them. For example, a feature could be understanding water availability, water access, understanding which crops are available when, understanding the interplay between water and energy as well, and of course also the interplay between energy and food. So this was the first exercise, and then in the second exercise, after the participants have sort of chosen which features would be the most interesting to them, we would then take one feature and prototype the user experience, so the user interface. So basically, when you enter a website, you can see an interface, and here we try to understand how the participants wanted the website to look like. So what, for example, if you have a feature for water availability, would you want to have a graph that shows the availability? Do you need certain filters to make your information more clear that you want to get from the tool, and so on? So these were the two exercises for the co-design workshops, but we also did awareness raising workshops. So we did 2 climate sprints in Kenya and 1 in South Africa. In total, we engaged with 50 postgraduate students that were mainly working in agriculture and the waters, not working, but studying agriculture or water management. And the climate sprints are also 2 exercises. First, there's a quiz to get the people engaged and also kind of test a bit their knowledge and what they already know about climate change or environmental challenges. And then the next step would be to bring together different scenarios, but also the interlinkages between different factors that enhance climate change, for example, the impact of human behavior onto CO2 emissions. And we also let people calculate their own carbon footprint. So from this, we had several main outputs, and we understood that the main local challenges across these different case studies mainly were concerning the lack of knowledge on how to implement sustainable technologies, that there's a real need for more reliable data to make decisions on investments, but also the distribution of resources. There's also a need for realistic and actionable policy advice. There were also difficulties identified involving community stakeholders in sustainability actions, like how do we actually get people to act, and then also developing like a long-term vision of sustainability projects, not just that projects come in 1 or 2 years, then they're finished, and then what has been already developed is not being picked up anymore. So we also tested, of course, the list of socio-technical requirements and recommendations that will also be implemented in the ONEPlanET toolkit. So our main conclusions from these exercises was that enhanced stakeholder engagement and building on successful stakeholder involvement in the co-designing exercise should be really maintained and enhanced throughout the project life cycles. Regular consultations with stakeholders from diverse sectors should also be integrated into the project's methodology, because we found it is very helpful for understanding what we want to achieve here. And then also an iterative tool development, so building on the iterative nature of the co-design exercises. The project team should also adopt an agile approach to tool development. So if we find something that doesn't work, we need to adapt to make it a bit better and not just stick to a very fixed plan. And then the main conclusion, another one, was for the capacity building and training, that targeted training programs should be designed, and I will be presenting you what kind of targeted training programs we are thinking of in a second. And that these training sessions should also cover aspects including tool functionality, data interpretation, scenario analysis, and decision-making support. But also there should be an element where end users are empowered with the necessary competencies to maximize the toolkit's impact, but also promote the widespread adoption across different, in their own target groups. So for example, if a policymaker is interested in it, that they are also empowered to promote the tool themselves. So what's next? As I said, we are already working on bringing these results together, but also bringing them in different packages. So we are working on the ONEPlanET Knowledge Hub, which will be a platform that is free to access and free to use for everyone. So we have the ONEPlanET Academy, where we have training materials, which is an e-learning program more or less, with different e-learning materials and training options for you. And there will be organized and thematic models. There's also the WebNexus modeling drawer, which is a repository for WebNexus modeling methods and innovative tools. There's also a section for direct download for you for the ONEPlanET code once it has been developed. Then there's the ONEPlanET toolkit with the web-based tool to create and evaluate, visualize, compare different policy scenarios of energy transition in our case studies. And there's also a simulation game to learn and raise awareness of the WebNexus for everyone to use. And the fourth pillar of this knowledge hub is an online directory with experts that can be contacted should you have questions or you want to know who's working in the field. So just very shortly, I can see I'm running out of time. The ONEPlanET Academy has 5 modules. So this is the training, the e-learning platform, and the 5 models will focus on different areas that we have identified through our participatory approach. One is explaining the WebNexus approach in general. Then the second is scenario planning and modeling. The third module will focus on cross-sectoral technical skills development. The fourth will be focusing on co-creation and community development. And the fifth model will be focusing on innovative ethical leadership. So all of this, the Knowledge Hub is supposed to launch at the beginning of next year, and I hope you will follow us and also will use this Knowledge Hub for your own purposes. So there will be more coming from our side on this topic. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, for that fascinating presentation. I mean, the co-design and awareness workshop sort of provided clear evidence of the sources and sustainability of this method. So we really appreciate your valuable insight and contribution on this project. So I think we question in the chat box from Abdullahi. I think he said, what was the nexus typology, climate conflict, development, or humanitarian peace and development? What were the key challenges faced during implementation of these innovative next approaches? So I think Titi or Abdul, I think these are your questions.
Okay,
Hi.
TC, you can go ahead if you want to answer. So before I can summarize all the answer together because the questions are similar, the same. Talk about the challenge. First of all, the question: what are typology of this climate conflict and the development or humanitarian peace development next year? But is all together because the nexus is to tackles the conflicts based on the climate and humanitarian and peace all. So the challenge where the key we are facing on those study area, like I said, is data challenge and also is a coordination between the different sectors. So is why the role of the government will come to those areas, like the third questions he asked. So the role of government to tackle those issues will be to create a policy based on the local reality for the development of the population living around the basin. Or also the government to ensure the coordination and collaboration among different stakeholders. So the water, energy, and food institution, all those institutions must collaborate together, and to create also a platform for the data based on the water energy for next source, because most of the study area to get the institute data is very difficult. It's very difficult. There's no platform. You have to go to different reports to have some of the data. So you need those platform available for people who need to implement the water energy nexus. Also, the government to support the capacity building. Yeah, the capacity for knowledge dissemination among different stakeholders. And the government contributes also to finance the implementation of a water nexus. So the finance will not be based on a donator. So they must have a budget for the country concern those areas. So the finance is the issue to tackle all those climate conflicts or to have a peace on those areas. So the target group of last question was the target group is the population living around the basin, across the three basin, because we are going to replicate this on the other basin in Africa. So it is if you have something to add it.
Okay, thank you very much, Abdulaim. So I can see that I think when we involve when we are implementing or testing the ONEPlanET, we are testing it on the people in the basin, and all the stakeholders are involved, regardless whether they are refugees or host communities, as long as they live around the basin, the river basin, then they are welcome to contribute, and they are also the ones who are also going to be affected with the resources. So I'm also like the government, for sure. The government, what is the role of the government in the implementation of the Nexus? The government is involved because it's also part of the stakeholders. We've got many stakeholders from the government institutions, from all the ministries, and those are the ones which are also involved in the policy development or in the development, as well as the editing or updating of the policies. So for sure, the government is involved in the implementation of the Nexus ideas, and all the stakeholders, the target groups, anyone is involved in the Nexus, as long as they are users of the resources in any sector they are involved. I hope we have answered your question. I'm not sure. Who is this? Abdullah.
Yes, thank you. You have answered all the questions.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Titi, Abdul, and Abdullahi for the question and, of course, the response. So next we have Fabio, who will walk us through the development and implementation of policies within the WAF Nexus framework. Fabio has an extensive expertise in policy development and is currently working on several projects that I would say integrate these policies into sustainable resource management. So Fabio, we are eager to hear your insights. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me to talk about the, let's say, the policy component of ONEPlanET. I will briefly go through these 3 points. So I will present a general framework, which is the framework that is characterizing our activity in ONEPlanET as, the reference components of transformation policy in the Nexus. A few policy highlights from the case studies, and the list of key recommendations which have been already identified along the work. So the general framework we are taking into account is the transition through the SDGs from degenerative development. So that means a process of increasing economic wealth or social achievements, but not taking into account the ecological constraints, and regenerative development. So finding the right way to keep communities wealthy while the environment is, is not disrupted. And that means we have to introduce an ecological thinking in our approach. So whenever we deal with water, we deal with energy, we deal with food, as to stay in the water, energy, and food nexus, we cannot forget the other dimensions. Those are in nature, it's changing, and there are continuous flows, and we cannot focus on one of the components while we are forgetting the other ones. So embedding ecological thinking in policy is really a challenge. That means we have to be quite deeper in the analysis and try to look for all the links and all the connections that each domain has with the other ones, because domains are built by us. In nature there are no domains, everything is flowing and it is connected, and we have techno-economic let's say linkages that we have to address together with the social ones. So having this complex picture in our mind and also in our software, because everything should be, let's say, data-based and reality-based, we can move from the current idea that we can fix everything by radical technological innovations. So it's a matter of making more power and better power, for example, with large PV plants, or we have to increase the hydro energy generation by making larger dams and bigger dams, or we have to increase our capacity of making food by innovating in fertilizers. And this is still part of the policy plans all around the world. And I must say, especially in Africa, where the pressure of demographic growth it's creating this need for increasing the food production, the availability of water, and the demand of energy into something that is what we call radical transformation at the system level. So everything is connected in nature and should be connected in our socio-technical systems. We have to go back from the market to the field by fertilizing, and whenever it is possible, we have to generate energy with this waste. We have to connect our houses into grids that are taking they are taking advantage of all the components of the flow of materials and energy that might serve these houses or settlements. So in the design phase of the technical infrastructure, we have to take into account everything that is connected in order not to waste energy, create impact and generate disaster that will raise later because of let's say mistakes in the design phase. Why we have to address policies? Because they are the engine of future implementation. So the policy debate is critical because it is at that point that we lock our future. So in what we will be in 5-10 years is depending upon the design of the society that we are discussing in the policies of today. So in a complex picture as the water and energy and food, we must address policies as a priority. We have 3 points that are characterizing the debate in water, energy, and food policy development. They are incoherent. Usually they are incoherent at the different levels, the local and the national and the regional one. There are knowledge gaps, so we have to provide policymakers with data and with a clear picture of the systemic dimension. And we are locked in by technologies. If we have been investing in large hydro power plants, as in the basins we are considering, it's very hard to get out from there. So we have to take into account the lock-ins where we put ourselves with the previous policies. The different basins have their own remarks and highlights, and these have been extensively discussed in the previous presentations. But substantially, what we see is that there is a common issue, that is the lack of local water and energy and food policies. So at the local level, we are missing tools and mechanisms to address the water and energy food with that community in that specific ecological and social environment. In the Bani River, there is a specific gap, that is the need to improve the intergovernmental relations which are needed in order to deal with this basin. In the Inkomati basin, the challenges are almost the same, but in this case, there is an approach which is at the high level, which is already established, which is not transferred to the local level. And finally, I want to stress in the Songwe River Basin that the increase of population is denudating the forest and woodlands. So there is a specific issue in the link between food and energy. And this, I think, is a huge and relevant priority for the overall continent. I mean, there is a pressure on the ecosystem, which is coming from this combination of demographic growth and need for energy for food preparation. So there are a number of highlights that are getting out from the project. Essentially, we are missing water and energy data that might drive efficient technologies and practices. We have a lack of planning that are around of issues that are around energy. So usually when the governments are planning around energy, they are missing the other components around, especially the cost of water in terms of energy. So the energy cost of water should be taken into account. Public-private partnerships should be promoted, and again, the policy coherence is not there because each policy is going by itself, and they are fragmented. So we need high-level schemes for addressing this. We have specific recommendations in order to strengthen the institutional frameworks, implement integrated planning, which should guide the development of the communities at the local level by combining the different dimensions, and create a platform for collecting, as Abdullahi was mentioning, to collect and share data that are helping policymakers to make the right things from the beginning. And inclusion, as has been mentioned by Jennifer, I mean, that kind of participatory processes should be kept along the way for, as you know, established institutional processes. And this is why we want to launch the Living Labs on Web Nexus in Africa in the second half of the project. So we have also to promote and scale up innovative technologies through programs like incubators, accelerators, and the cooperation of existing companies with innovators. And the climate change and in general, this huge pressure of fast transformations, including demographic growth, is creating one emergency after the other. So all the programs should be resilience. And they could be addressed only at the regional level. So we need local approach, but we need this within international cooperation on transboundary level. And finally, we need money. So targeted investment funds and the international development agencies should be part of the picture. Just to conclude, what we say is that we have technological innovations and they should be appropriate. So we shouldn't just go for techno fixes, but look for what is suitable. For example, efficient cooking systems could have a paramount relevance, but they are not so, let's say, highlighted in the policies yet. We should move to organizational innovations, and then this should be brought to the frame of social-cultural innovations. So the sustainability of the Nexus should be, how can I say, embedded in the people behavior, and this needs an institutional innovation framework around. Why this is so urgent? So I want to conclude with an highlight that impacted me so much from the the Italian broadcast channel a few days ago, which is not in the basin, is in a critical conflict zone, but it's so impacting that I want to share this with you, because I think that when we have this, let's say, so spatial environments preserved, as it is in Africa, the Runga park in Congo, which is in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and this is the let's say house of the mountain gorilla. This is going to be erased because of transformation into charcoal, so for cooking. So this is unbelievable that, I mean, we are facing such kind of crisis, having the technology, having the policy tools, having the right dialogue. So this is so urgent that we put our capacity together in order to face this crisis once for all and try to solve the issue of the community, because people there are starving. So there is an issue, you know, which is a fundamental issue for the refugees. But on the other side, we cannot lose forever what Africa has been and what Africa should be in the future. So the host of one of the places of nature where nature survives on this planet. So we have to do something. Thank you for giving me this 10 minutes. And if there are questions, of course, I'm here.
Thank you, Fabio, for that insightful discussion on policy development and implementation. In the chat box, I can see a question from Patience. She's asking, how does the policy approach for the WAF Nexus from other integrated approach, example, the integrated water resource management? Fabio, if you're speaking, you're muted.
Yes, I mean, it's a matter of comparing, you know, putting something in a central position or not. I mean, in the water, energy, and food nexus, we are not spotting on one specific dimension. We are considering the flows of materials and energy and the way each domain is interacting and with the other. and we need quantitative systemic analysis. So I think that the novelty of the water, energy, and food nexus, if we take it, seriously, is that we need models that are showing how the different dimensions are interacting each other. And then you will have policies that are science-based without being a domain policy. So they are, let's say, systemic policies and open policies. In this sense, I think they are differing from all the other schemes because it's a, how can I say, it's an open playground. It's not framed. I hope I answered the patients.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you again, Fabio, for that insightful discussion and, of course, response to that question. I mean, your recommendation for policy makers were extremely valuable. So yeah, thank you for the insights. So to wrap up our presentation, Serena is a project manager at Arena Consulting with a strong background in law and project management. So she will be presenting the future outlook for the One Planet project and of course outline the next step. Serena, if you are ready, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. So I'm going to share my screen. So I'll be very brief. Oh, sorry. Okay, perfect. I will be very, very brief. So as Lydia was saying, I'm the project coordinator of the One Planet project. So first of all, I would like to thank you all for participating in this webinar today. Just for wrapping up, so today you've heard from some of the partners involved in this project. One Planet, it is an Horizon Europe funded project. It started on the 1st of November 2022. The consortium is composed by 12 partners, 8 located in Europe and 4 in the African continent, such as the Strathmore University, University of KwaZulu-Natal, the ECRI Association, and AfriLabs. As we were saying at the beginning, so we are quite at the, say, half of the life cycle of the project. So we are now in month 20 and we still have 16 months before the project ends. So as you have heard today, we already have some results and we present you the outcomes from the analysis we have implemented yet. And as final draft, so as final slide. So you've heard something, but something from the 4 pillars that compose the One Planet project. So we are focusing a lot within the knowledge communities and engaging with stakeholders. Indeed, we are organizing many events as the one of today, apart from local workshops and local events in the 3 case studies that we have in Africa. Then we're focusing a lot on co-design and test. And then a huge part of the project is the creation of the One Planet platform. So within the One Planet model, and then the publishing the capacity buildings material. So if you want to know more or be in contact with us, we are organizing other events, as you can see here. Normally, we also cooperate with other sister projects, so projects with similar goals. The next events that we will have is a workshop in Paris. Then we will participate at the Liapre Forum in Milan in October, and then the ECOWAS Sustainable Energy Forum in November. So you can meet us there, and if you want to know more about our, let's say, upcoming events, or either if you want also to cooperate with us, please keep an eye on our website and get in contact with us. So that will be all from my side.
Thank you very much, Serena, for that. So we will just give you seconds. If there's any question from the audience, please do well to drop chat box. So I can see that, let me quickly read. Okay, so someone is asking for the toolkits and modules. What are the modalities to register to the France workshop? Yes, so more information will be shared on the ONEPlanET platform, our website. So you'll gain some of these some of the questions you're asking. There's a session for that on the website that will provide that clarity that you need. So yes, as we come to the end of today's session, I would just like to summarize some key takeaways. I would say that the Water Energy Food Nexus ONEPlanET project is making significant stride, right, in just optimizing resources or even resource use and policy integration across Africa. So we encourage all of you to stay engaged with this project and of course support its initiative. Like Serena mentioned, for more information on how to get involved, please do well to visit our website or even contact us directly. So I'll say, yeah, thank you so much to all our speakers for their valuable contribution. And thank you to our audience for your participation. Do have a great day. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Thank you. Bye. Though you haven't answered my question on the chat box.
Thank you and bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye. Thank you. Hope to meet again. Thank you. Thank you. Hope to meet again.
Thank you.